Friends, welcome to Biology Made Easy. Today in this video, we'll discuss the mutation theory given by Hugo de Vries. In 1901, the Dutch botanist Hugo de Vries, who was also the professor and director of botanical gardens, Amsterdam University, Netherlands. Amsterdam University, Netherlands. He was a professor and director of botanical gardens. So he was also the first scientist who rediscovered Mendeleism. So when he was the director and professor of botanical gardens, when he was sitting outside his garden, he found that a particular plant known as evening primrose. Evening primrose. The botanical name is Oenothera lamarckiana. So this plant was growing wildly outside his garden, and he found that in some plants there are some variations while the other plants are quite normal. He collected the seeds of the normal plants and self-pollinated them. So they all bred true. That means all of them are normal. But those plants which are slightly different, when he collected the seeds from them and self-pollinated, in the next generation, he found some plants are quite different from others. Again, those plants which are different from others, again seeds were collected and again self-pollinated, and he found that some plants are very different while some are still very different. If diagrammatically we will represent it, then we will find that the normal plant is self-pollinated. Then from this we will collect the seeds. Now when seeds will grow, again when we will grow the seeds, then it will give rise to two types of plants. That means some are normal plants, and these plants were majority. Majority of the plants were normal, while some plants are very different, but their number was fewer. Now again, these plants were self-pollinated. So when these plants were again self-pollinated and the seeds were collected and the seeds were sown, again some plants are very different. These are the majority, while some plants are still very different, and these were very fewer in number. That means from the normal plants were originated. But when some plants were very different, when they were self-pollinated, from them very different and still very different, two types of plants were produced. Now when these still very different plants were again self-pollinated and seeds were collected, found again the number of variations gradually increased. So to these variations which occurred suddenly in the plants, particularly this evening primrose, he called it as mutation. That means he observed that mutation is taking place in this evening primrose plant, which is a sudden process. That means taking place suddenly. And the plant in which the mutation is taking place, they are known as mutants. The process is known as mutation and the plants are known as mutants. So in this way he found that the new types are arising. And evolution is going on. Evolution is going on. That means from one plant, very different plants arose. When those plants are self-pollinated, again very different plants arose. That means evolution is going on. It is due to mutations. So in this way he explained. Now the mutation theory given by him had certain salient features, and we will discuss one by one. So what are the salient features? Salient features of mutation theory. Now first important point is mutation is the raw material of evolution. Mutation is raw material. Is a raw material for evolution. So this is very important. That means unless there is mutation, evolution cannot take place. Now the second point, mutations appear suddenly. Again, this point is important. Suddenly and has immediate phenotypic effect. That means the mutation takes place suddenly, spontaneously, and it is expressed in the form of the phenotypic effect. Now, the third feature. The third feature is mutations are completely different. You can write mutants, but it will be better, mutants. Mutants are completely different from parents and no intermediate type. No intermediate type. That means like hybridization. In hybridization, the F1 hybrid is intermediate between two parents, but no, here the mutant is completely different. The next point, the same mutation, you can write, same mutation can take place in a number of organisms. That means the mutation which takes place in evening primrose, that can take place in other plants and animals also. Then the next point is the mutations are always genetic, very important, and hence heritable. That means a mutation takes place in the genetic makeup of the organism. That is genetic, and that is why it is always heritable. The next important point is mutation takes place in all directions. That means mutation can be both progressive, it can be retrogressive, in all types of mutation can take place. Then the next point is useful mutations. Useful mutations are selected while lethals disappear. That means that those which are lethal mutations, they disappear, while the useful mutations are selected and inherited to the next generation. Sorry. The next important point, a single large mutation can evolve a new species. This is very, very important. That means just a single large mutation will take place in a plant or any organism, and in that single mutation a new organism or new species can be created. This is known as saltation. This is known as saltation. This is very important. And another point is, here I am writing, mutation is a jerky. Jerky means it can stop and again it can come out. Like it is a jerky and sudden process. Sudden or you can tell discontinuous and a discontinuous process. Jerky and a discontinuous process. That means it may take place, then it may stop for some time, then again it can take place. So these are the important features or salient features of mutation theory of debris. Now the next thing that we'll discuss is what are the evidences to support this mutation theory of debris. So the next we'll discuss the evidences in support of the theory. So one of the very great evidences in support so one support comes from two scientists, that is McDougall and Saul, both from America, and Gates from England. They repeated the experiment of debris and found that the mutation is actually taking place. So this is one of the, they repeated the experiment, of debris. So this is very important. Now the second evidence is Ankensief. Now this Ankensief, it is a short-legged sieve. So from the long-legged sieve, as a result of a mutation, this Anken breed of sieve has been evolved, and it is very useful to the farmers because they have short legs. They cannot jump even the smaller fences. So naturally it is very much useful to the farmers, and the Ankensief has been obtained by a single mutation. So that is how the evolution has taken place. And the third point also, that is the hornless cattle from horned cattle. That means a hornless cattle has been obtained from horned cattle as a result of a mutation. Similarly, the fourth point is hairless dogs, cats, rats. They have been obtained from the haired dogs, cats and rats as a result of a mutation. Then the next point is again very important. Delicious apple, novel orange, and red sunflower. Delicious apple, novel orange, and red sunflower. These three types of plants have been obtained as a result of a mutation. So another experiment we can also take, that is the evening primrose. Evening primrose has only 14 chromosomes. That means only 7 pairs are there. But the different mutants, The mutants have usually 16, then 20, 22, 24, 28 and 30 chromosomes. That means in the original evening primrose there are only 14 chromosomes. But when we get different types of mutants, those which are very different, some mutant has 16 chromosomes, some has 20, some has 22, some 24, 28, 30 like this. That means each mutant is independent of another. That is the most important. That means mutants are independent from each other. So this is the support or evidences in support of the mutation theory. Now side by side, it is also subjected to criticism. So what are the criticisms? So criticism, one of the criticism, the first criticism is that mutations are not common as Hugo de Vries said. That means he said due to mutation evolution is taking place, but mutations are not taking place in all organisms. It is not common as he told. So that is criticism. Now the second is mutations may be retrogressive. Mutations may be retrogressive or negative. That means according to De Vries, that mutation will take place only so that more and more better characters will be produced. But sometimes the mutations also they produce negative characters. So how that will be explained? Then coming to the third point, it cannot satisfactorily explain mimicry and the mutual relationship of a flower and pollinating insect. How there is a relationship between the flower and the insect, and how or why the mimicry is taking place, this cannot be explained as a result of a mutation. And another criticism is it does not explain the role of nature. This is also a very important criticism. That means according to De Vries, only it is the mutation which is responsible, but the nature also played a role. He didn't explain it. So these are the different criticisms. But ultimately, what conclusion will draw? The conclusion is that mutations are actually responsible, but side by side, the nature is also playing a role. That means mutation, side by side natural selection, both are taking place as a result of which the evolution of new species are taking place. So this is a brief idea that how De Vries worked on the mutation, and this is known as mutation theory. Now let us discuss questions. So first question is, according to Hugo de Vries, mutation mutation is first choice multiple step mutation, second choice saltation, third choice phenotypic variation, and the fourth choice minor mutations. And this question was asked in NEET 2018. Now the second question is, according to this question is from Darwinism I am giving because there I am not given the question. According to Darwin, evolution is first choice a slow, sudden and discontinuous process. Second choice a slow and discontinuous process. The third one, a sudden but discontinuous process. And the fourth choice, a slow, gradual and continuous process. So this question was asked in KCET 2010. So these type of questions are usually asked in all types of examinations. I hope now your idea regarding the mutation theory is clear. So we have completed 3 theories, that is Lamarckism, Darwinism and mutation theory. In the next video, we'll discuss the synthetic theory. So thank you very much for watching the video. God bless you. Have a good day.